And on Tuesdays, we're joined by publisher Bayobuzz.com, who also is joining us via Google Hangouts on Bayoubuzz. And, of course, I'm talking about the one and only Steve Sabludowsky. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Jeff, and how are you doing today?
Hey, doing good, Steve, doing good. Lots to discuss today. Busy menu of topics, as always. And how are you?
Doing fine, just working on some Google Hangout technology.
Yeah, and folks can check that out at Bayobuzz.com. So, Steve, we just had Jason Sutton on, who's a historical preservationist. He was not happy with the mayor's proposal to remove the monuments. And he testified before the city council. He was there last week when the mayor made his presentation. And I know it's been an issue you've been covering on Bayoubuzz. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I'm just kind of repeating myself in terms of what I've said before. But, basically my position is that you have to look at it from the Confederacy flag first. If it's, that's a states' right issue, and South Carolina, I think, made the right decision. But it's their decision. As far as the statutes, my feeling is that we should always try to adhere to our history and our culture. And I think that if there's something that is so inflammatory that it's so repugnant to the community, then I think we should say visit that device, that in this case statute. And so I don't think that all statutes should be say dismissed or eliminated, or any statutes. I think it really depends upon the nature of the statute, and so that's my position.
We had on a caller earlier who was talking about her efforts. She's got historic property, and she has to go through all this red tape. Liz, who called in, to even paint the property. Red tape, bureaucrats, various hoops she has to go through. And we pointed out that these statues, there's historical monuments as well. So you would think that any kind of effort to remove something that does have historical significance couldn't just be done on the whim of a mayor or even a city council. Well,
I mean, they're representing the people, so I certainly think that as long as it's a legal thing they can do in terms of federal law, then they can do it. The question is, I think, whether it's a wise thing, for them to do. It's a prudent thing for them to do.
Does the state have any role in this? Does the government have any role in this?
I have not looked at the legal aspect of it as far as that goes, but let me say this, that I know that we're all emotional about this. Again, I wrote a column the other day saying, look, if we're so, if we believe in our history so much, then why cannot? This is something I mentioned in your show the other day, and that is well, if history is so important to us, and we should adhere to our history, then maybe we ought to put up say statues which are say reminders of people like Malcolm X, Farrakhan, and etc. into certain communities, and I mean, that's part of their history, and what's wrong with that?
But does it have a tie to New Orleans? I mean, what would the tie?
Well, it might have a tie. I mean, 60%, 55%, 60% of the community. I'm not advocating it. Okay, I'm being.
But you're assuming that the entire black community is behind something like this. We heard from Reverend Brown when the gentleman was on. Hold on, and he said, "Keep them up." As long as we can get a job training facility. And what Jason was pointing out, and I think I'd like to get your view, is that a lot of folks, black and white, are more concerned about the roads, the street lights that are out that we just heard in the meeting last night, the crime rate. We've had a murder a day in July. I mean, how is removing a statue going to help that crime rate? How's it going to help the 58% of blacks who are unemployed, black males? So, I mean, I would assume that if you have all these other problems worked out, then maybe you can focus on monuments. But if you're in the midst of all these other problems, you would think that the focus would be on the pressing problems that are really impacting life in the city of New Orleans. And up until the shooting in Charleston, other than James from Metairie and maybe one or two others, I hadn't heard of a big effort to try to remove these monuments. Had you?
No. I mean, certainly I think that was something that grew out of that situation. And just so that, I'm not misunderstood, the point I was making was just being very facetious and saying that if a certain population feels so strong about their heritage and wants to say memorialize that heritage, okay, then it can work in the other community also. And so, I'm just saying that I think we should at least we should recognize those emotional markers that do divide us. And so, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying about that.
I think removing these monuments would be an assault on our history. It would be a tremendously negative, divisive thing to do. I think it's horrible that the mayor is leading this effort. By the way, Steve, I signed a change.org petition saying
I read that petition, yeah.
And there's almost, as of this morning, we had almost 15,000 petitions that were signed. There was also a petition that said take down the monuments, and I think it had less than 1,000.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that says. To me, it says there are a lot more people that want to keep the monuments than want to take them down.
Well, Jeff, I read that petition, and I was really offended by it in terms of the wording itself. Okay, and so I'm glad that you brought it up. I found that certain elements of that petition, and I'm looking for it actually as we speak, was just really it was disconcerting to me. And it really sort of plays into the position of those people who would like those statues to come down. So if I, as soon as I find it,
let's get some of these calls in. 504-556-9696. Our friend Leon joins us on a cell phone. What's happening, Leon? Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. I know you know that I know quite a lot about this history behind the Confederate flag and also the monuments.
Yes, sir.
Let me explain something about the monuments now. PGT Beauregard, one of the monuments that they wish to remove, is a gentleman who helped save the, I can't remember the name of the building. It now houses the insectarium.
The Customs House, right?
The Customs House, yeah, okay. PGT Beauregard is the one who saved that building from sinking. When he was general, not a general, he was a colonel, I think it was, in the Union service. Before the Civil War, or the war between the states, whichever way you wish to say it, he actually was asked how to stop the Custom House from sinking, because it was sinking due to the weight of all the granite that was on it and the weight of the building. And Beauregard suggested and told him, use oyster shells to distribute the weight. He did that, and it worked out perfect, and the Custom House has been where it's at since. And another thing he did was build forts. He built a couple of forts that were used by both sides. He won the battle in Mexico. He was one of the top officials in winning the battles against the Mexican-American War in Mexico City. He led the charge. He defeated the Mexicans at that point down there while he was before the war between the states. Now, when you go to Jefferson Davis, the gentleman, now a lot of people say, well, he was the president of the Confederacy, but he was, granted he was, but he was teaching his slaves how to read and write, because as Jefferson Davis said, he had to do it because they had to learn, because eventually they would have to use their intelligence to read and write properly in order to get ahead. And Jefferson Davis taught them all sorts of different jobs, specialty jobs too, and how to do it the right way. Now, Robert E. Lee had done a lot of things for the city also. Even after the war, he contributed to the city. Now, the Confederate mountain flag itself never was designed or used in any part of the Confederacy to proclaim slavery. Okay, now if you want to get up there and we go back to the history of who had the longest periods under slavery, you go to the British flag, 122 years or 125. You go to the United States flag, they had 109 years that the United States flag flew over slavery.
Okay.
Confederate flags, all 5 of them, by the way, only flew for 4 years. Isn't that amazing? And another thing, people talk about why they want to take down these things. No country in the history of the world, except for Nazi Germany, has done what is going on now with that. Now, they say, who does it? I can guarantee you who is behind it 100% from the get-go. And that was the NAACP, which was founded by Webb Dubois, who happened to be a communist, and all the others that formed the NAACP were communists. And it's been a communist organization since day one.
Well, Leon, you're a wealth of knowledge, and we appreciate your call. We'll get Steve's response when we come back. Good to hear from you, Leon. It's been a while. And we'll take more of your calls, 504-556-9696. Jeff Crouere here, Steve Sabludowsky with us, publisher of Bayobuzz.com. We're visiting on the airwaves at 990 AM, WGSO.com, and via Google Hangout at Bayobuzz.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back.
So what do you get when you put together a financial educator, a local elite financial advisor, and a best-selling author? Well, you've got Robert, Daryl, and the Bull. We're talking finance, real-life tips, tools, and strategies on how to put your financial house in order. And that's what we do. It's putting your financial house in order with Robert, Daryl, and the Bull, Monday nights at 8 o'clock. Join us.
Putting your financial house in order.
This is Sidney Lee with AC Ambulance, and I got some great news. Daikin is now offering up to $1,200 rebate on selected equipment with a 12-year parts and labor warranty, and we are also a participating contractor in the Energy Solutions program where you can get a rebate for increasing the efficiency of your home. Call 467-1400 so you can take advantage of this program. That's 467-1400. And by the way, no other manufacturer has a 12-year parts and labor warranty, so call Sid. You'll be glad you did.
When God saw that it wasn't good for Adam to be alone in the Garden of Eden, He didn't create for him a group of friends or a job or a ministry to make him whole. Instead, God created the ideal counterpart for Adam. God created for Adam a wife. Some days it's hard to believe your spouse is God's gift to you, and your spouse probably feels the same. On those days, we walk by faith, trusting in God's design and not by sight. I encourage you to look at your spouse today in light of the clear testimony of God's Word. This is David Jeremiah, encouraging you to get on the road to new life. Discover God's plan for marriage on Route 66.
Route 66, driving the word home. Log on to Route66Life.com and get your roadmap for life. That's Route66Life.com. Route 66. Start your journey home today.
If you're chomping at the bit to give your opinion, don't horse around. Call Ringside Politics with a Punch. Grab the reins now by calling Jeff Crouere at 556-9696.
Hey, Steve Sabludowsky with us, Jeff Crouere here. You heard from Leon, Steve, who is a Civil War historian, someone who has written books on the topic. Your thoughts?
Well, number one, I'm not sure if I agree about the meaning of the Confederate flag. I thought he mentioned that, and from what I've read on the internet in terms of the statement from the person who designed the flag, it certainly wasn't had white supremacy as an integral fiber and fabric of the flag. So I'm not, I'd be more than happy to pull it up on the internet. I'm sure you've seen that or heard about that. Am I correct?
No, send it to me. You can find it on the internet.
Yeah, I will find it. And as far as the petition, let me just say this, that and I look again. My feeling is that there's nothing about those statutes, as far as I'm concerned, that is so inflammatory that they shouldn't stay. I mean, I just don't see it. And I do agree that it has been born out of the whole controversy. But, the language...
And I guess I would ask you this before you get into that. What does the shooting in South Carolina have to do with statues in New Orleans?
Well,
what is the connection?
Well, I mean, the connection is the issue of the flag and racism. It may not be a direct connection, okay, but it's still, I think, sort of enveloped within the whole idea of racism. It happened in that community. You have
but nobody's got clean hands. Steve?
Nobody's saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there.
And then where do you draw the line?
You draw a line where the community wants to draw the line.
I'm not convinced the community wants this to come down.
Well, I'm not convinced they do, and and I'm not saying that they do. I think that the reasonable people are saying, look, this is part of our history. It's whether it's good or bad, it's part of our history. I'm personally, in fact, in favor of putting up a plaque saying this was, the men involved here, were not necessarily evil. That they, they were involved in a cause, some that they believed and some they didn't believe in, but to at least celebrate those good qualities and to recognize the qualities that we now don't embrace. Okay, so to me, I think that makes a lot of sense. However, let me just say this: that I'm looking at this petition now, and it says, we believe you do not create a future by pointing to the past. Right there, I mean, it's my understanding that you do create a future by pointing to the past. That's what I heard. That's what I thought this argument is really about. You don't break. You don't have a break between the past and the future. You grow the future by what we know of the past. Then it goes on, we don't agree with you that this is a symbol of how we used to be. It is who we are. Please forgive me, but is the Confederacy how we used to be? That's who we are right now. I'm just looking at this petition, and it's, I find it, very confusing and disturbing.
Well, now, I mean, the thrust of the petition is to keep the statues up. I mean, the wording, I would quibble with the wording too. I mean, I don't think that it was worded particularly well, but the general theme: keep the freaking statues. Focus on the real problems that the city is facing. Don't divide the city. Don't be grandstanding about it, Mitch Landrieu.
Well, yeah, but
deal with them every day in the month of July, Steve. There's been a murder. I can't believe that we're not focusing on the murder rate in the city of New Orleans. That he's going before the city council and he wants to murder statues. I mean, my goodness, how crazy this is.
Well, Jeff, again, if to say that we should not be concerned about other issues, and we've talked about this last week. I mean, why don't we just cancel?
We can't handle both. We can't multitask. We don't know how. This guy can't do it. If you can't focus on the number one problems, how in the world can we focus on something that's not even at the top of anybody's list except a few radical activists?
Jeff, why don't we just, I mean, that's ridiculous. Why don't we cancel Saints football season? Why don't we cancel New Year's Eve here in the French Quarter? Why don't we cancel
But you say, you say we can handle it all, but we're not, Steve. We're not.
No,
we're not. We're not making any improvements. We're
what I'm saying, what I'm saying is that
they don't even fix the street lights.
Jeff, to the extent that you're saying that what happened in South Carolina has nothing to do with what happened here, honestly, truly, a diversion of this nature really has nothing to do with people angry people, people who are drugged, who just want to kill, and there's not much you're going to do about trying to solve that situation.
Here's the connection. The mayor and the city council should be focused like a laser beam on the number one problem facing New Orleans, and that is the violent crime rate. They're taking up valuable time, resources, energy, not dealing on that problem, but dealing with monuments from the Confederacy. That's how it's connected. They're diverting resources, time and energy is a resource, to focus on something that I don't think up until this shooting in South Carolina was an issue to more than one or two people.
Have you asked?
That is the tragedy in this. That is the connection. That's why I indict Mitch Landrieu for his, I think, abysmal leadership of the most important issues facing New Orleans, and definitely the diversion, the distraction onto this.
You don't think that
we can multitask? No, we can't.
Jeff, you don't think that the diversion? You don't think the diversion during, say, Saints football season and Mardi Gras and all that, you don't think that's going to take a whole lot more time? Now, look, it's certainly worth it, okay? I mean,
Steve, those are things that bring people together.
I understand that.
This
but I'm
is
just
something that
talking about
divides
specifically,
people.
I understand. Well,
it divides people.
It divides, some people, others don't really care about it that much.
I think a lot of people
care about it a lot on the other side.
I think a lot of people care about it.
I'm just saying the argument about you can't do one thing because you got to focus 120% on something else. I think that
what's the number one focus that a mayor should have? Shouldn't it be public safety? I mean, if people are getting gunned down in the streets, are there issues more important than that?
I think there are other issues. Public health.
Are there more important issues than that?
Public health. I think business.
Killed. That is public health. When someone's killed, that's they're gone. They're no longer any health. You're dead.
Public health meaning conditions, diseases that could say impact the vast majority of the people in the city. Crime is certainly a major issue. There's no question about that. But it's not the only issue.
It's the number one issue.
Oh, well, it's the number one issue.
Number one issue.
It's the number one issue in your case, and you keep bringing it up.
Because people keep getting murdered, Steve.
There's a diversion.
People keep getting murdered. I bring it up. I'm bringing it up because people that I know have been robbed. I'm bringing it up because people I know they're being burglarized. I'm bringing it up because people that are innocent are being targeted. I keep bringing it up because it is the most important problem in the world.
Then take away the other diversions and fix this until it's totally
I'm not
fixed.
The mayor. I'm not the mayor.
Oh, come on.
The mayor puts the police chief.
If you're not the mayor, you're the one who's blaming him, and I'm just saying that
he's an abysmal leader who has not tackled the problem.
Then
it's become worse. Do you know that the murder rate is big time this year?
I'm not defending him. Jeff,
do you know it's up big time this year versus last year?
Look, Mitch Landrieu said when he ran for office that if and I'm just paraphrasing, that nobody deserves to be mayor, and that he's going to quit if the crime is.
He should quit.
Look. I'm not defending him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Mitch Landrieu in terms of the crime issue or in terms of this statute issue.
All
okay,
right.
That's not what I'm doing.
All right.
I'm just defending. I'm just defending the argument that there are a lot of things that you can do, including trying to fight crime.
All right, let's get some other views on Steve. 504-556-9696. Colonel Jessup is with us next. Colonel, welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen. Jeff, can you make sure that you allow me to make my point before you cut me off? You let guys like that Neanderthal racists and Pearl River talk forever. So here we go, Jeff. First of all, it's an easy thing. It won't take hardly any time for the government. In one day, you can take all those statues down, and this is the reason you take the statues down. It's different from almost anybody else's reasons. This is it. In the history of the United States of America, the mainland has been attacked on only one occasion by a foreign government. That was the Confederate States of America. Forget racism, forget all that other stuff. Robert E. Lee and those traitors tried to destroy America. They killed 700,000 Americans They tried to wipe out the United States. That's why they have to come down. Forget the racism. You can fire those flags and all your swastika and Confederate flags all you want in front of your house. That'd be fine with me. I'll know where all the nuts are. So that's the reason they tried to destroy America. You're trying to divert everybody by saying it'll take up a lot of time.
Well, we just had an expert on historical preservation who said it would cost a lot of money to do that. And I think he's certainly better qualified than you. And your comments are insulting, but I gave you the opportunity to make them. 504-556-9696. Rusty joins us from the French Quarter. Rusty, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning to you and Steve. A foreign country did not invade the United States. It was part of America. He's got that wrong, and half of those people were from the South that died there. Yeah, I like to address two things. I like Steve's idea about the plaques, if it's a reasonably phrased. But there's another idea that I've brought up before, because I've heard, I think it was Captain Black who said these statues should be put in a private place. Seeing that this is a democratic, politically correct city council and all that, I would suggest if they're going to take it down, that people could give donations to keep them up. So it won't be the city's doing. We could keep them there. Nobody could say that the government is paying for it or the city's paying for it. I would rather that than taking them down.
Let me ask you this, Rusty. How are we going to afford taking down these statues if we're not paying our firemen what they're owed? I mean, they're owed pensions. We're not paying them. We got a massive amount that we owe firemen. How about all the people that are owed money via lawsuits that haven't been paid? There's a long line of people that haven't been paid.
What you said to Steve, I don't know if he's getting the message about crime, was right on target. I respect your emotions about this because it's not something you can't bring back the dead. You can talk about political issues and philosophy till you're dead, till we're all burnt out. But people can't bring back the dead. And I know people who have been killed by this murder rate. One more thought for Steve, if I can, real quick. A couple of weeks ago, idea of comparing it to the Nazis, the Confederacy, and I tried to get in, but I couldn't. The Nazis committed genocide against Jews and other people in Europe. The Confederacy was part of a union and also, at the time, had slaves themselves. The whole world had slaves. But I don't know if there was any country except maybe one or two at that time that didn't have slavery back there in the mid-1800s. And the fact is, it was being practiced. We're evolving as a nation. This democracy that we have today, it has been an evolution. Genocide was never accepted as an agreeable practice. You can't compare this to the Nazis. This is part of our history of evolution. If we get rid of that, then we're destroying the foundation of that evolution, and we're going to be left with nothing to stand on. This democracy's been developed, and if we don't know how it got developed, and we destroy everything, we're going to become ignoramuses, and that's what these people don't understand.
All right, Steve, we'll get Steve's response.
The Nazis were a murderous, conniving, low-down group of people, but this was part of an evolution of our process of developing a democracy we have today.
All right, my friend, we'll get Steve's response when we come back. One more segment with our special guest, Steve Sabludowsky, ringside all-star publisher of Bayobuzz.com. You can join the conversation at 504-556-9696 right here on WGSO, and also Bayobuzz.com, where you can check out our Google Hangout. Let's take care of some business. We'll be right back.
Wits Inn Bar and Pizza Kitchen. Wits Inn is an upscale neighborhood bar and pizza kitchen in the heart of Mid-City at 141 North Carrollton. Wits Inn is open 7 days a week, and the kitchen is always open late. Make Wits Inn your home for sports. With 18 TVs, the NFL package, and the SEC channel, you'll never miss a game. Check out our food and drink specials like Thursday $5 pizzas and the Wit Maker at WITSINN.com. Wits Inn Bar and Pizza Kitchen. Think, drink, live, laugh.
Hey, New Orleans, this is Sue May with the Cannon Hospice Health Hour. Join us to get the latest and most up-to-date health information here on WGSO.
Saturdays at 12 noon.
What's that sound? That's the sound of you having your next party at Oceana Grill. Birthday parties, rehearsals, weddings, to corporate dinners. No party is too small or too large for Oceana. Come visit any of our 4 private dining rooms or our huge courtyard for your next event. Have your own venue? Then we'll bring the delicacies to you. Oceana Grill, 739 Conti, is the best time off Bourbon Street.
Join me, Mitch Gibbs, every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. for New Orleans at Night, live on WGSO Radio, 990 a.m. in New Orleans.
What are you doing to stop traffic? When your business is ready to wow the pants off customers, visit Sir Speedy. We produce quality signs, posters, banners, and more that are just the trick for trade shows, promotions, events, and product launches. Whether you're taking it to the street, the floor, or the counter, bigger is always better. For more information or to get a quote, go to SirSpeedyNewOrleans.com.
Bon appetit. This is Cynthia Clark, your food reporter for the Cuisine Report. Join me each Thursday at 5 p.m. on WGSO as we talk everything food in Louisiana.
Ringside Politics with a Punch and Jeff Crouere are on the air now. Your opinion is valued. In fact, if you like your opinion, you can keep your opinion. And I know you've heard that before. You can believe that's the truth. Call Jeff Crouere now at 556-9696.
All right, one more segment with Steve Sabludowsky. Then we have another great guest joining us before the end of the program. And Steve, Rusty made some comments. Want to give you a chance to respond, and then we're going to try to squeeze in a few more quick ones.
Well, first of all, I certainly would not in any way equate, say the symbols of Nazism and Confederacy. I certainly never have done that. The point I made was that there are people, say, in Germany and elsewhere, that find the swastika as being really repugnant, enough so that it's unlawful. And there are people here in America likewise who find the Confederate flag as being repugnant for a lot of different reasons. That's the only point that I'm making. I personally do find the Confederate flag to be repugnant, and it's largely one, because the purpose of it, and secondly, it's because the way it's been used over the last, say, a century. The KKK, every meeting of the KKK, with the banner of the flag, marches, integration marches, and so forth. The Confederate flag, I just, it has evolved into something that I think is just.
What about the statues? I just want to get you on record. So you are for keeping the statues up?
Yeah, I'm for keep the statues up. I'm not in favor of that petition, the way it's worded. I think that you should always defer to a monument, a statue, unless it is so repugnant. Again, if there was a statue, say, of swastika, then certainly. And look, we've had Nazis walk in Skokie, with swastikas, and I think they have a right to do that, but I certainly find it repugnant.
Right. Okay. 504-556-9696. Marion is joining us from Metairie. Hey, Marion. Good morning.
Good morning. Listen, a couple of historical corrections, I would say. Your previous guest said New Orleans was the seat of the Confederacy. I don't know if he actually meant that, but New Orleans was never the seat, the capital of the Confederacy. Now, maybe he means it was the biggest city in the South, which is true. It was the sixth largest city in the country at one point, including back then.
Yeah, I don't think he meant that it was the capital. Right.
He said the seat, and I didn't know what he meant.
Yeah.
But let me also correct Colonel Jessup.
Yes.
Because he must have completely forgotten about the War of 1812 and something called the Battle of New Orleans, also the burning of Washington, D.C. So, little footnote for Colonel Jessup.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sir. What about the monuments? What about this? Yes.
I say let them have a referendum. You cannot argue against people's feelings. If the people have a feeling, and I mean the majority, then that's their feelings. You can't.
Is it a majority
in
the city? Is it a majority in the state? A majority in what?
Majority of the city.
In the
now,
city.
There are exceptions. The Lee Monument was erected with private funds. It was also renovated with private funds.
Right.
And back, it's been some years, but Patrick Taylor, the founder of TOPS, he funded the renovation. However, at that time, it was conditioned upon the monuments being recognized on the National Register of Historic Places.
Right.
So it's probably not coming down.
We shall see. I mean, the mayor wants it to be down, and I would assume the city council is going to go along with that. I would assume we're going to have some kind of a legal wrangling, wouldn't you, Marion?
If the council is smart, they throw it to the people, let them have the referendum. It passes the heat off of the mayor and the council, and it does give you a truer sense of the feeling of the people in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't live there, so I don't have a vote.
Well,
let me just say
I think it's would be a real damage to history to do that, and I would hope that through the legal process, those statues could be preserved, which I think they should be.
Jeff, let me say this one thing.
Yes.
As far as I've heard many people talk about the flag, the monuments, whatever, is a symbol of our Southern heritage. If we had never had the Civil War, I would still be as proud to be a Southerner as if there had been a war. I don't need the flag or the monuments to be proud as a Southerner. I always have been, and I always will be. And I think black people feel the same way about being proud to be from the South.
Okay.
But it's these images, these concrete images, that are getting in the way. And I think it's not because some kid in South Carolina shot 9 innocent people with the flag around him or talking about the flag. That's a catalyst. And a catalyst can occur anytime, any place. And
well, that certainly spurred the whole
elsewhere.
discussion here and the whole movement that we've seen. That was what ignited the fire. And, of course, we've seen now it going in all kinds of different directions. But I appreciate the call, my friend. And we'll squeeze in one more, Steve. Let's go to Miss Rhonda, who's with us in Mid-City. Hey, Rhonda, how are you? Good morning.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Hey,
Good
Rhonda.
Topic as usual.
Thank you.
Jeff, I couldn't agree with you more, honey, about Mitch Landrieu needing to concentrate on crime around here instead of worrying about some doggone monuments. But it's just, if that's the case right now, my opinion on it, Jeff, and this is just me.
Yes.
I don't think they should have been up in the first place. I'll give you an example. If we erected a statue of Hitler, say we put Hitler out there, that wouldn't feel too good to a lot of people, would it?
Right.
That's what we're saying about the monuments. Another thing that's similar to that, these plantation houses they have, totally offensive. I don't even think they should be here. They're miserable for black people. Why would you run these kind of houses? And who's making the money off of our ancestors' misery? That's just the way I look at it. Okay, I would burn you down instead of these monuments. Mm-hmm. Okay, they're making money off of that.
You're talking about the plantation tours?
You know, I don't like none of it. I don't think they should have ever been up anyway. If we can't put Hitler up, he's part of history. Mm-hmm. If you can't put Hitler out there with him, take them all down. That's just my opinion.
All right, Miss Rhonda. Hey, good to hear from you. Steve, final comments, sir.
Good calls, by the way. I did find the passage. William T. Thompson, who designed the flag, says, as a people, we're fighting to maintain the heavenly ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior colored race. And then he goes on. So
well, I mean, here's what I would say to that. Yeah. I've seen quotes, and I would encourage you to read Bernie Cyrus's new book, Rethinking Lincoln. Because Lincoln made very similar comments about the fact that he didn't believe in the equality of races. He believed in the actual institution of slavery. He was not someone, at least for part of his career, that really advocated the end of slavery. And, of course, as Bernie points out, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't free one slave. And there were a lot of slaveholders in the North. And, of course, it was done to try to bring blacks into the Union Army. A lot of other reasons other than ending slavery. But we'll have to end it with that. Good discussion. Sure. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Check out Bayobuzz.com for more information. All right, got a lot more to do in our final segment. Hang on with us.